Hey there everybody, it's 2023, 2024 is around the corner and we are living in the future. AI is threatening to replace us all and the bike industry has finally perfected shifting with electronic shifting. Is there still any reason in this day and age to not make the switch? And if there isn't, are you just being some kind of hipster? In this video, I thought that once and for all I would answer and give you guys a reason why I don't think I'll switch to electronic shifting personally, and the reason might not be why you think. Hipster! These are my opinions. You can do whatever you like. You can have your own opinions, and I don't begrudge anyone, choosing electronic shifting for themselves, but it's just not for me personally, and this is why. I believe one truth in all the product reviews that I've done, and that is there is no perfect product for all people at all times, period. And if there's someone that tells you otherwise, I would be highly suspect of them. What works for someone who races probably doesn't work for someone that's carrying kids on a cargo bike, or is commuting for the first time, or is going fully loaded bike touring across the country. Even my beloved Uno shifter that we worked with Mary Sales with, I don't think it's for everyone, and I say that multiple times in the video. So whenever I hear someone say that this is the best ever and that everyone should switch, I'm a little skeptical, and I always ask best for whom and under what circumstances. I think oftentimes there is an inherent bias for things that we like or dislike, depending on what discipline of cycling we're coming from. And that's not pointing fingers, that is just an observation. I certainly have my own biases coming into cycling from commuting rather than the sports end. Okay, so what are the reasons that I will personally never switch to electronic shifting? Is it the price? I'd say price was initially an issue, but the prices have come down, although they're still not affordable in my perspective. But I would say even if I was making that baller GCN money and could afford it and afford to replace things as they broke, I still wouldn't make the switch. Is it the batteries and the need to charge? While it's definitely a nuisance, it's not the ultimate reason why I wouldn't shift to electronic shifting. See what I did there? So what is it then? We'll work our way from functional to philosophical. First thing is the brakes. We're talking curly bar electronic shifting here, not flat bar electronic shifting, is inseparable from hydraulic brakes. Like if you want the latest electronic shifting, you just got to go hydros. There's very little space for that. As someone who has just moved to another continent with very minimal tools and space, I want a bike that I can work and service on with basically a multi-tool and some cable cutters. I just prefer mechanical brakes. They're easy for me to work with. I think the constant need for adjustment is way overstated. I like them because I can see them, I can understand them. I don't have to prevent something as invisible and all over the place as air getting into the hose lines. It's just simpler to me. The second reason is gearing. Let's face it, electronic shifting is already targeted towards already pretty fit enthusiasts that probably don't do dumb stuff like carry 20 pounds of fishing gear or painting gear up and over mountains, or try to run a cargo bike-based business. The gearing, in my opinion, assumes a mostly unladen bike, something that you're gonna ride on the weekends, fast group ride, your gravel event. But that's not the only way to ride a bike, and all these other ways I think require lower gearing. So sure, SRAM is gonna boast their 500% gear range with Eagle, which sounds impressive within a vacuum, but when you consider that an old 3x that used to come on a 90s mountain bike would easily have 620% gear range, 520 doesn't seem that impressive. My janky wide range double easily does 605 or 610% in its sleep. So I think if all you want to do is unloaded day riding, gravel events, then you're probably well served gearing wise with electronic shifting. But again, if you do weird things on your bike or you like to carry loads of crap over mountains, then your options are pretty limited. This leads me to probably the biggest functional / philosophical reason why I'm never going to switch to electronic shifting personally. Once you go electronic, you're in an ecosystem permanently. You're in the box. They own you pretty much. SRAM, Shimano, Campy, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're only going to be able to use the products from that ecosystem. Don't like what they offer? Too bad. Want to mix and match? Can't do that. In short, it's kind of the amplification of bike components. Here's the thing, humans are complex. There are certain aspects of my life where, I'll go for that simplicity. For example, video editing, I'm an Apple fanboy all day long. I just want things to work, and in that instance, I'm willing to give up, certain levels of customization and control. But there are also aspects of my life where I do want that control, that level of customization so I can make things mine, and bikes are one of those things. One way to look at it is that pre-index shifting, when everything was just friction shifting, everything was an open protocol. Every shifter would work with every derailleur, road, mountain, campy, Shimano, whatever. Everything just worked. Once index shifting came in, you can think of cable pull as the first somewhat closed protocol between the shifter and derailleurs. However, in the early days, let's say 6, 7, 8, and 9 speed, most shifters and derailleurs use the same protocol, if you will. The Shimano 2-to-1, which was like a 1.7 cable pull, and even early SRAM spoke the same protocol as Shimano. Campy was over there doing campy things. And it seemed that somehow after 9 speed, the component manufacturers realized, hey, if we made things less compatible, we could make more money. And this is the beginning of when Rode and Shimano group sets no longer spoke to each other, no longer used the same cable pull, aka the protocol. And to me, this was a pure money grab. There is no physical or engineering reason why road and mountain couldn't still coexist with the same protocol. This has been confirmed recently when you look at what Ratio did with the SRAM rear derailleurs. They proved that by simply changing the shape of the cable fin, you could get a drop bar shifter to talk to a mountain bike rear derailleur, which ironically SRAM further confirmed with their new Explorer group set, where they basically did that same thing. Again, there's no reason why road shifters and mountain bike rear derailleurs should have ever had any incompatibility. All that to say that it seems to me that there's a history of manufacturers building in incompatibility just for profits, which is fine. I get it. They're businesses. They have to grab that bag, but it is at the constant confusion and frustration of the end user. That's a big reason we worked with Mary Sales on the Uno shifter. I wanted one shifter that would work with literally all derailleurs on the market, and we achieved it. From 6 to 13 speed, road or mountain, the Uno will shift it all. But it's not for everybody. Watch my videos on it and find out why. So back to electronic shifting. Once you go electronic and you enter that walled electronic fence, there's no going back. They own you. There are no hacks. Electronic shifting is a far more secure walled garden, if you will, compared to cable shifting. At least there's always the common thread of cable that you could work with. But with electronic shifting, there is no workaround. And to me, that feels really claustrophobic, and I just don't like it. Another thing that's also bothered me, as electronic group sets have added more cogs in the back, why didn't they just add that extra shift via firmware? To me, that would have been the biggest selling point of electronic shifting. You're not limited to the mechanical gears in the shifter itself, where there's a physically engineered limit. I mean, we're talking software here. Your 11-speed electronic group set should theoretically be updated to 12 or 13 and beyond with a couple lines of code. On the flip side, now that everything is, kind of app-driven, who's to say that, features can't be taken away? We've seen Shimano revoke some access to their group set with other hardware. We've seen overly smart bikes turn into bricks. There was a story in our Discord where someone bought a bike with a built-in Quark power meter, and it was less expensive for them to install a brand new power meter than to pay for the firmware to be unlocked so they could use the one that's already literally on their bike. This is the bananas future that we're marching towards. But it's so convenient and easy to shift until it isn't. For me, this is the biggest reason I won't make that shift. I don't expect everyone to be on board, to agree, to share my perspective. But philosophically, it bothers me that these machines, which for me represent a kind of freedom, aren't really free anymore. It seems to me that the component manufacturers aren't releasing products because they're truly innovating. They're more like magazines on a publication schedule where they have to publish a new bit of hardware to keep the business moving along, which I totally get. I don't feel comfortable going that road or having a channel and not kind of calling it out as I see it. So there you go, the philosophical / existential / ontological reasons why I won't go electronic shifting. And kudos to you if you have made it this far in the video. I know this is kind of a long ranty video. We just moved to Catalonia and are still getting the studio set up, hence this very sparse and bikeless background. And if you like this video, please consider joining us on Patreon, where you get access to discounts as well as more personal updates about this move, or better yet, pick up some stickers at the merch store. Our cap should be in stock soon. That's what allows us to keep making videos, and as always, keep the supple side down.
Hipster!